This next obituary deals with some tough stuff, but I think it's important. Now, trigger warning, this one references mental illness and addiction, so if that's not your thing today, keep scrolling or save it for later. This is an obituary of a son and his mother. It's a joint obituary. So let's get to it. Roger and Hilda Trifo. We are not all destined to go through life as respectable citizens. Many grow up on the fringes, deep in the shadows. Roger was a drug addict and paranoid schizophrenic. His mother, Hilda, a lifelong alcoholic. Together, this odd pair lived a life. Roger briefly joined society when he fell hard for a blonde bombshell, the head cheerleader. She was several classes above his own. They married in 1962. He graduated from university with a BA in business, and they had 4 children. Soon after the birth of the 4th child in 1970, Roger would fall from reality, never to return. Roger's normal life was short-lived, just 8 years. He left his wife and children in 1970, never to return. Mental illness would haunt him to the end. His mother, Hilda, loved once. Martin was a tall man who looked handsome in his World War II uniform. Hilda and Martin were deeply in love before he heard the call and joined up. During leave, Martin came home for a few weeks to his darling Hilda. Martin returned overseas. 9 months later, Roger was born. Martin finished his tour, came home, and married another, never seeing Hilda again. For Roger, this meant growing up without a father. Hilda was left to fend for herself and her son through the 50s and 60s, an era unfriendly to unwed mothers. Hilda never married. She continued to self-medicate throughout her life, alcohol her constant companion. Roger and Hilda represent the struggle many face just to get through a day. It is hard to imagine that for a large portion of the world, life sucks much of the time. Hilda and Roger were dished out a particularly large serving of suck. Yet they never lost their humanity. They were not saints, far from it, but at their core, they were not mean or vindictive. They were not spiteful or hateful. They were not racist or homophobic, and that is something. I am Roger's son and Hilda's grandson. I am not mean or vindictive. I'm not spiteful or hateful, nor am I a racist or a homophobe, and that is something. The world could use a little more Roger and Hilda. Roger is survived by 4 children and 7 grandchildren. Roger died in 2013 and Hilda in 2002. They will be buried together in the summer of 2014. It's a lot, right? Okay, I have some thoughts here. Number 1, this was sent to me by a follower who's from their area in Saskatchewan, and she said she didn't know the family, but this obituary was stuck with her. Thank you for sending it to me, and it's clear why it stuck with you. Number 2, this represents so clearly the cycles of mental health and how it is so hard to break those cycles within families. Roger and Hilda weren't born holding aces, and it sounds like they did their best, but that combination of mental illness and addiction and choices, it's really, really hard to pull yourself out of that. And I thought the author of the obituary did a great job describing that, a great job. There's a line in there that says, the world could use a little more Roger and Hilda. And that surprised me, actually, because to me, I just felt like their life was so hard, and probably so hard for the people around them, their friends and family. Why would you want more? Why would you want anyone to experience that? But I would love to know what you think of that. First of all, anyone watching this video, I'm curious. I don't really know what to say about that. But after thinking and reading this over so many times, I'm concluding that the grandson is saying that they were at heart kind people who weren't saints, but essentially good people, and the world could use more of that. So again, would love your feedback. It just struck me. Number 4, why do this at all? You might ask, why write such an obituary? And I really commend the family for publishing this obituary, because it shows that people are not one-dimensional. We are more than our failures. It really does tell the tale of cycles of family mental illness and addiction in a way that is unique and clearly very impactful. And also, I think it's probably therapeutic for their family to have this tenderly written and beautiful tribute out there. Lastly, the obituary is at the link in my bio if you want to read the full obituary and see a picture of Roger and Hilda together. But what's interesting too is the comment section. And there are some very interesting comments from people who knew them at various stages of their lives. And I just felt like that rounded out the picture of them nicely. So anyway, I know this is a tough one. And I think the tip for me today is that as tough as it is, it's worth telling the full story. We can all learn so much. Thank you.